What's up, YouTube? Mr. MSC here. A little focus in on that one. We'll pretend like it was intentional. And today, we're going to be talking about PTR 2.4 builds. We're going to go through the list of builds that we've been checking out. We kind of played through a lot of the various changes. And there's a lot. There's a lot to soak in here. So let's take a look at this list of what we got here. First off, at the tippy top, we have the S tier Holy Fire Oradin. And this isn't just S tier. This is the SS tier. This is the needs to be nerfed tier. Literally just ran around and everything died. Didn't have to click anything. It reminded me of back in the old days when you would, keep stacking it over and over again with the glitch. So you could just infinitely stack the Holy Fire Aura. Then you'd step out of town and everybody would die in PvP. That's basically where it is right now. It's just brokenly strong. So I really hope they drop that down. Doesn't need to be so crazy and ridiculous and all of that. In the A tier, these are the ones that I think are really fun and in a great spot. Nova kind of reminds me back of like 109. You can kind of dive bomb again and then just spam Nova. You could run around and have that infinity on yourself if you wanted and insight on your mercenary because that'll help with your mana. Or you could run for the 200 FCR and then maybe you have to jam up your energy and bump your mana up in some other ways to help with that. Maybe some Silk Weaves or something for that 5 mana per kill. You're definitely going to have mana issues with it, but super fun. Super, super fun. I think, this, like I said, I loved Nova back in the day. I think this is the back in the day Nova stuff right here. Hydra, surprisingly amazing. The damage output was insane. And I thought they weren't buffing Hydra's damage. But I guess first off, because you can throw down 6 of them so quickly, it's just like that you can actually get damage out instead of, the amount of time it takes. But they also felt stronger. I'm just gonna throw that out there. They felt really strong. So I think Hydra is in there and crushing it and gonna be great. And I think it's something that you can definitely use with with something else. You can mix it in with Nova or with Frozen Orb or with Blizzard or whatever it is and be able to jump over, drop some Hydras and go from there. I also think you could just run a pure Hydra build. And that's huge. You could literally just go and just do Hydras and run through the new and old area level 85, 84 areas that are fire, don't have a lot of fire immunes. And you could just do that and you'd be great. Or if you had Infinity, maybe you can break some in certain areas and go through there too. I don't know. Hydra seems really solid. Now, the next one is the most surprising one. Phoenix Strike Martial Arts Assassin. Insanely fun. Absolutely. Probably the most fun I had out of all of these builds, which is surprising because I hated playing martial arts before this. I think everybody kind of did. I liked my procs in, kicks in, and this kind of reminds me of that. The nice thing is you get all of the charges spinning around you. You kind of become this disco assassin as you have all of the different blades of ice and Phoenix Strike and, Fist of Fire, all of the charges spinning around you. But at the same time, you can just, you just go and like when you're ready, you kick it and it'll kick off one of the charges, like one set. So it'll kick one of each of the charges you have. So you can get a big explosion, a variety of those things. And then you just go and build them up again, kick again. And it really actually worked well. I mean, I'm just going to like tip my hat to the devs and just say, GG, it's just beautiful. I think it's going to be one of people's favorite builds. So highly recommend it. And I think it also is very fun in that it's really good for that similar idea of the proc sin, where it's like it can play in any area, right? You can just go and any area, you have the different immunities, but it doesn't matter because you're kicking out all kinds of damage, all different elements. And so you're going to be able to fight a lot of different mobs. And so I think that's really good. So I love that Phoenix Strike. I think that's just going to be like so fun. And then you can also teleport around with, you know, your Dragonflight a little bit more and things, which is also fun. So I think that's solid. In the B tier, Fist of Heavens. This is for PVM. I think PvP, Fist of Heavens is just going to be like really dumb. I don't have enough PvP knowledge for all that it's going to do exactly, but man, you're able to get a lot of attacks off very quickly, and it's very annoying for sure. Additionally, I would say the Holy Bolts with the Pierce and everything there were actually really solid. I went into the Chaos Sanctuary, which has undeads, not the Pit Lords or whatever, you know, they are in there, but, you know, all of the like Oblivion Knights and all of that, right? There's a lot of undeads in there, and man, when the Holy Bolts were blowing off of that thing, you could just do tons of damage. You could really crush. So if you get some undead areas, really solid. If you're in an area that's just like purely demons and things, not going to be as fun. Definitely takes a little while to whittle them all down. But I think overall from, you know, PVM, Fist of Heavens used to be an F tier thing that I would never play. The controls feel better on it. It felt a lot stronger. You're not doing an attack when you run out of mana. It just seemed better. So highly recommended. Also in the B tier, we have Blade Assassin. I was kind of hoping she's a little higher, and I think she still might be with really proper gear. She had her moments of really fun and solid and everything. But I think the difficulty, the part that I still really didn't like, was her attack rating. She gets no attack rating from anything, right? None of the blades, none of those skills, nothing anywhere is giving her that like boost in attack rating that you really want. And so you're going to have to like run Angelics or something like that to help it out. You're going to have to run some charms, whatever it is, to really boost her attack rating so that it can actually do a little bit better. So I think that's kind of one of the main pieces. But still really fun. And yeah, maybe get enchanted with an Act 3 Mercenary, and that helps a little bit and everything. But beyond that, the damage was better. The Blade Sentinel was kind of the main thing. It seemed like Blade Fury was something that, you know, I used a little bit, but run and kind of drop the Blade Sentinels, more like a Trapsin does, seemed decent. So very much liked the Blade Assassin. And I think there's still more to be tested and more, you know, different weapons and different gear and different things to try that could make her better. And I think she could push up to A tier if she found the right gear stuff. Also in the B tier was the Fire Druid. I put this here because it actually, while it's still fire, it is fire and physical damage. So you get a little bit of a boost right there. But the ability to spam was actually kind of fun for it, because originally you'd be like, I choose fire, firestorm, or fissure, or molten boulder, or volcano, and you just choose one of them, and usually it's fissure, right? And you cast fissure, wait a few seconds, cast fissure, wait a few seconds, right? And that's all you do. But here, because they don't share cooldowns, you literally have like a 3 or 4 skill swap. And like I say, this would be really good with like quick cast or something, where you're just literally going in and you can just be like, fissure over there, volcano right here, molten boulder here, firestorm there. Now I can cast fissure right here again. And then now this is up. So you can like really cycle through all of the skills, and your damage output is just going to be so much higher. Additionally, you have the faster molten boulders, which I think helps. And then since they have the physical damage, you can really like push on them and really just kind of shove extra physical damage out there, which I think will be helpful. So it's kind of a piano player, which I think also kind of happened with the Phoenix Strike when you're building up all the different charges as well. So they kind of added a couple piano player builds in here, but I like them. I thought that they were both pretty fun. So yeah, big DPS upgrade there. Moving into the C tier, I thought Emulation Arrow kind of sat here, it still had that cast delay on it, and I think that's still why. The cast delay is like 1 second now. I think it was 2 seconds before, and now it's 1 second. So it's better, but you still shoot it, and you have that whole second to wait before you shoot it again. So you're either like shooting an exploding arrow on the in-between, but then you're just going 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1 between them, or you're shooting like a freezing arrow, but again, you're kind of alternating. So I wasn't sure on that one. It didn't feel quite as natural. I liked running Immolation and Freeze in that dual spec build. I have that build on Icy Veins, but I do it with Exploding Arrow. So now it's just do it within an Immolation Arrow. And so it's, you run Freezing Arrow and Cold Arrow, and then you run Immolation Arrow and Exploding and Fire Arrow. You kind of run those in combination, and it's really good to kind of get through the game. Not quite as strong overall, but it's fun. Fend, up to C tier. Fend was garbage before, literally unplayable. Now actually viable with the big speed boost on it. And I think if you get yourself an E-botted Warpike, you could actually really have fun with Fend and actually do a lot of damage. They just gave us a Lycander's flank or whatever, and so, it was like, okay. No, they didn't give us that. What'd they give us? Yeah, maybe it was that. So they gave us like an okay weapon, but I feel like if you give yourself a really good spear and get the right gear on that, it could be really fun. That's a playthrough I'm actually looking forward to do, which is surprising. I thought I would say that about Fend before. Plague Javelin, also very decent. Speeding it up to 3 seconds for the poison damage was a really strong way to improve it. You could see the damage just kind of tick through the mobs, and it didn't feel like you were waiting for 30 seconds, a minute for the damage to actually hit and anything to happen. So again, I think if you're running around there and you've got Bramble on and you've got Trang's gloves on and things like this, I think you could actually get decent damage out of it and have some fun and not do terrible. I think it fits right there in the C tiers. Fire Assassin, also in the C tier. I didn't feel like it was as nice as the Fire Druid. It definitely still had, okay damage, and you could see the fire traps were improved, and so you'd kind of run like those with, Death Sentry, and it'd be okay. It just felt like a worse Lightning Assassin, though. It didn't feel like something that I was super crazy about. And, I think Inferno traps are probably a little better because Inferno's better. So maybe that's something good to also try out. So maybe that's better for like some, bosses or something. But bosses right now are buggy or really difficult, or I don't know. They did something with the bosses that made them weird. And then lastly, Blaze in the C tier. Blaze, the damage actually felt decent, and the speed boost on it was super fun and made me have a blast. I was just running around the cows, and they'd all fall in line and die pretty quickly, and this was Hell Cows, and I was impressed. So I like Blaze. I think the Blaze boost was super fun. Totally for it. And yeah, getting the faster run walk boost is a big Inferno stride buff as well, because you get a little extra boost whenever you proc it, right? So I enjoyed it. In the D tier, leap attack, the speed upgrade on it, I mean, it seemed like okay. It definitely was a faster leap, but I don't know if I was like crazy excited about using it. The barb overall was really disappointing. And so, yeah, it was like, all right, it's a slightly faster leap attack, maybe a little bit more attack rating or damage or something. They boosted it somehow. But it wasn't anything I was crazy about. Summon Druid, I feel like it's D tier. I think some people are going to argue with me on this one. I put it in the D tier because Summon Druid before was viable but slow, and now it's viable but a little less slow, but still slow. So it's like, it's not changing in how it was. It's, you know, you can get ravens that do like 4K, 5K DPS or something. So those can be nice, but they still aren't like getting in the way and attacking enough and doing enough where you're actually like murdering things. You're just kind of still, it feels very similar to how it was before, just a little bit better. I do like the cold damage. I think that's fun. But again, overall, I just wasn't like super impressed. I thought it's a fun playthrough that I would try again for that Summon Druid and see how it does. Also in the D tier, I have Fire Claw. Shapeshifters are just completely broken. They've changed their attack speed. It seems down to what their human form is. So everything in a shapeshift form attacks at the same speed as the human form. And so when you have like a 6-shaled phase blade and all of this stuff, you still are just like, huh. Like it's just like super slow. I think they'll fix that and then it'll probably move it up and Fireclaw will be better. But for right now, anything with shapeshift is going to be just bad. Moving also into shapeshift, we have Rabies. But this one doesn't really come into the attack speed issue because you just hit once. But the poison length was still too long. It was like 20 to 30 seconds for the poison damage. And again, it just, even when I had Death's Web and Plague on my Mercenary to get the lower res procs and, you know, all of the stuff, Bramble and everything, it still was just a long time to kill stuff. Now, that being said, it did kill a lot of stuff. So if you're okay being very lazy and not really having things to do as you wait 20 seconds for something to die, or a mass of things to die, viable and totally fine. Also in D tier, Arctic Blast and Inferno. They're actually viable in hell. Like you can sit there and kill stuff. They pretty much should just go in the meme build, meme tier, because there's still nothing that you're going to use. But I put them in the D tier because they used to be just like bottom barrel F tier. And so it's like, well, they did improve. They're not going to be fun, though, or anything like that. In the F tier, Throwbarb just was very unimpressive. To be fair, they did not give us amazing throw weapons. We had the Jimmer Shreds, which are not great. But I was hoping they would at least still, like, do a little bit, you know? So they didn't give us Lacerator, they didn't give us Warstrike, so we couldn't run that combination and see how it went, or Atmas, or anything like that to have all of that. But like I say, we were just sitting there and it was just like we'd throw out all of our axes to kill like 2 cows and then have to go repair them and then come back and rinse and repeat over and over. And I mean, I know Throwbarb can be decent because in Lord of Destruction, Throwbarb was decent. Decent. It's viable. And if you get really good gear on it, then it can be in a good spot and you can use that and you can even do like, you know, Ubers and things like that with it. And so now you have the Pierce added to it and it's like, hey, and you know, they kind of boosted some stuff. And so you think, oh, this is going to be really good. But it just, I don't know. It just was very unimpressive to me there. I felt like it was the same old Throwbarb that existed before. And the Pierce didn't feel like it was doing enough for it or something. I don't know. I mean, again, maybe it just needs all of the gear to be viable, which is what it needed back in LOD Legacy as well. So we'll see. I mean, I think that one is really test with the better throw weapons and see what happens. Also in the F tier was Thorns. It is viable, but again, this goes in just the meme category. I kind of maxed out purely on it and got up to like 1,000 damage return. And it was okay, you know, mobs would hit you or attempt to hit you like 10 times before they killed themselves or something, depending on the mob. And like, yeah, some mobs it killed faster. Some mobs it, you know, took a long time to kill you. It wasn't anything that I thought was worth anything other than doing a funny meme playthrough, you know, the passive paladin all the way through hell. It's kind of where it ends. Impale. was so slow. She would go, "Hoo, hoo." I mean, it was like the slowest stab. I know it's an uninterruptible attack. I know that it always hits and has the slow and the cold, and it just was still nothing I wanted to use at all. So Fend, good. Impale, I doubt I'll use that ever. Nothing in this game can attack that slow and be like a good skill. Also in the F tier was Fire Golem. I was very disappointed. I was hoping that with the S tier Holy Fire Oridin, that the Fire Golem would have like some insane damage, because I got him to level like 90 or something, since I had like level 45. And so that's a level 90 Holy Fire. And he walked out there and like nothing took any damage. It was just really, really, really sad. So I was very, very sad about that. And then Conversion was, I mean, you converted every single thing you swung at. So like, if that's the point of it and the purpose of it, then that was good. I think it was like 84% conversion chance is what I had it at. But it just didn't, nothing happened. You know, they just converted and would all hit each other and then turn around. And I don't know. I mean, I guess it's like, you know, a mind blast, but you have to walk up to them and try and hit them for it and then whatever. I don't know. So and I tried Thorns plus conversion and it was like okay for a little bit, but then, you know, that was it. And it wasn't like amazing. And I did fanaticism with it and, you know, none of it was like great. So it really was just like, okay, it's a crowd controlling piece. And maybe if somebody really feels unsafe, they can go convert one or two things, then just zeal the other monsters and then rinse and repeat. So Convergence probably fine, but it's nothing that I think I'm going to ever use. So I think we'll just leave it right there. Yeah, and I think this is all the builds that we really tested. There was some other things that they did, such as they boosted, you know, like Warcry got a little more damage, Strafe got a little bit more. They adjusted a bunch of like times on things for durations. What else? They reduced mana cost on all of the bow skills. Not all, but on the like elemental bow skills. That was really good. Bone Necro got a little bit of increased damage, some casting things. So there were things like that, but things that I didn't feel like were so changing of the build that it was like a new build, a new skill that really needed to be tested in this whole capacity. So, yeah. So after all the testing, this is kind of where I'm at with this new tier of stuff. And I think there's really a lot that really hit, though. Nova, Hydra, Phoenix Strike, Fist of Heavens, Blades, Fire Druid, Immolation, Fend, Plague. I would say all of those builds I would play that seem fun and off meta and can still be decent. I'd say everything below that, more meme, more whatever. Some people do Summon Druid. Some people do like a Fire Sin. I think Throwbarb with really good gear could be something there. And then, you know, kind of some other stuff, right? But I think they added some nice new builds overall. And I think Holy Fire Ordnance, of course, needs to be nerfed. So, this is my tier list. I'd love to hear your guys' thoughts below for those that played through and tried out some of these, what you thought of it, if you felt like some of them were better or worse, if you think I have it better or worse or wrong or right in different places. Feel free to post it in the comments below. Thank you guys for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Peace, YouTube.